Israel is trying to do something which was feasible 2 centuries ago. It's called settler colonialism. It's when you move a group of Europeans into a non-European area, you exclude the people one way or another, and you basically populate that area with the arriving Europeans instead of whoever lived there before. It worked 2.5 centuries ago because that's what the United States is. And we went to the final solution of the settler colonial project, which is literally exterminating all of those people. What Hitler did to Jews and gypsies and communists and socialists was not new. It was the repeat of what had been done by Germans, but also by lots of other Europeans all over the world. The first book I ever wrote as a young man was a study of British colonialism in Kenya, in which I studied what the British did from the time they arrived to the time that an uprising of the African people there, known in the world as the Mau Mau Revolution, drove them out. And you see that everywhere in the world. The last century and a half have been and will be in the future called the era of anti-colonialism. It's the overwhelming story of the overwhelming majority of the people on this planet. India, which was a formal colony, China, which was half a colony, and so on. What Israel is trying to do is to go against a century and a half of historical movement in the opposite direction, to undo settler colonialism, to apologize for settler colonialism, whether it's the Maori in New Zealand or the indigenous people in Australia or the Africans in South Africa, and you could go on. This is hopeless. And this has nothing to do with the particulars. You can't do now what you could do 2 centuries ago, especially if the intervening period has been an era of anti-colonialism. So what Israel has done, not willing to give up that project, and let's remember, it was British colonialism that created this opportunity for Jews escaping Europe. What Israel has done is hooked itself up to the biggest, toughest military in the world, the United States, and basically made a decision to become the military outpost of the remaining empire, the U.S. empire. And this meant it was the flashpoint for everything against all of that. And most, of course, immediately in the Arab countries that surround Israel and the larger Muslim world which surrounds Israel. And what we have seen and what we're watching today is the slow, painful, but inevitable process of teaching the Israelis that this is not going to work. Now, for a while, it can. For a while, it may continue. They have enormous commitment to military everything. And they have the endless provision of the means coming from the United States. That is their alliance. And Israel has worked very hard to support the political forces in the United States to support that alliance for obvious reasons. But it can't work. That's why The conflict never stops. The Palestinians have demonstrated that even under genocidal oppression, they're not leaving. That's incredible, given what they have suffered. They're not leaving. And they have appealed to their Arab and Islamic brothers and sisters to support them and to become problems for Israel, which those others have become. Not just Hamas, but Hezbollah, but on, and I won't rehearse it all. We all have been living through it. Eventually, and they found two. The first one is this mysterious group referred to in the American media as the Houthis. The Houthis is a part of the population of Yemen, one of the poorest countries on earth, basically a sliver of inhabitable land in an otherwise desert over there. People who very frugal, very hardworking, able to live on next to nothing. And slowly it became clear they are located where they can stop shipping in an important part of the world economy, and they can shoot missiles into Israel. And nobody can stop them. The United States tried. Earlier this year, a month of steady, heavy bombing by the United States had no effect. The second was Iran. Iran is a supporter of Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, fill in the blank. And why? Because it is too big and too powerful and too well connected for the Israelis to dare. The Jewish part of Israel is 7 million people. Iran has 90 million people. You don't do that. You don't attack a country of 90 million with 7 million. And you sure don't do it while you're busy fighting a war in Gaza, which the whole world condemns you for. And Iran has very close relations with Russia and very good relations with China. What are you doing? Israel is a